The tale of Pedro the Cruel, King of Castile. In the year of our Lord 1350, the bells of Seville tolled with both mourning and triumph. King Alfonso XI lay cold in his tomb, and his young son Pedro ascended the throne. 17 years of age, dark of hair and fierce of gaze, the boy king was said to have inherited both his father's fire and his mother's cunning. The court whispered he was destined either for greatness or for ruin. Pedro's reign began with promise. He was bold, decisive, and unafraid of the powerful nobles who circled his throne like wolves. Where others bowed to tradition, Pedro sought justice. He punished the great lords who grew fat by stealing from the poor, and for this the common folk first named him Pedro the Just. But justice, in his hand, often bled into cruelty. His temper was like a sword drawn too quickly. A slighted word, an insult, or a hint of treachery could bring swift death. Noble families trembled at his wrath, for Pedro trusted few, and fewer still could survive his suspicion. The Castilian court grew thick with plots and betrayals, and Pedro struck back with a bloody hand. Yet he was not merely a tyrant. Pedro loved fiercely. He gave his heart to a woman not chosen by politics, but by passion, Maria de Padilla. She was his solace amid the storm, and he adored her above all things. Even when forced into marriages of state, Pedro always returned to Maria. Some said it was her counsel that tempered him when his rage threatened to burn all of Castile. Still, enemies gathered. His half-brother, Henry of Trastamara, born of Alfonso's mistress, harbored a burning hatred. To Henry, Pedro was a usurper and a tyrant unfit to rule. To the discontented nobles, Henry became a banner, a shadow king waiting to seize the crown. Civil war split the kingdom. Pedro, fierce and unrelenting, fought to keep his throne, while Henry gained the support of France and Aragon. Betrayal clung to Pedro like a curse. Once allies turned coats, and even family proved false. In fury, Pedro's punishments grew ever harsher. Throats cut, bodies burned, conspirators slaughtered. His enemies proclaimed him not the just, but the cruel. Yet Pedro's courage never faltered. Against overwhelming odds, he won victories that seemed almost impossible. But fate, and perhaps his own merciless hand, turned against him. In 1369, at the castle of Montiel, the brothers at last came face to face. Legend tells that Pedro and Henry grappled in the darkness, steel flashing, hatred boiling after decades of rivalry. Some say Henry had the stronger arm, others that treachery tilted the balance. Whatever the truth, Henry drove the dagger home. Pedro the Cruel fell, and Henry of Trastamara seized the crown, founding a new dynasty upon his brother's blood. Yet the people of Castile did not forget. To the nobles, Pedro was the cruel, the tyrant who struck too hard and trusted too little. But to the common folk, who remembered his war against injustice and the power of the lords, he remained Pedro the Just. So his name lived on, wrapped in shadow and flame, cruel tyrant to some, just avenger to others. A king who ruled with fire in his veins, and who died as he lived, in blood and fury.